Hi, everyone. And thanks for coming. So, is anybody paying attention? Now, for as long as there has been advertising, marketers have been trying to grapple with this question. Now, between the ever-narrowing attention span of consumers, thousands of ads seen a day, and the rise in second screens, 68% of UK consumers have admitted to looking at secondary devices whilst watching TV. It's no wonder that attention is so difficult to grab. While metrics have attempted to quantify consumer interactions with an ad, this question still remains. Is the audience actually truly engaged? But as the cost of living crisis hits the pockets of UK shoppers, the recession is also looming. It's become more urgent than ever for brands to maximize every media dollar spent effectively. Now, you combine this with the coming deprecation of a third-party cookie and the challenge of measuring attention to gauge consumer, to gauge effectiveness of these budgets is a top priority. Now, in recent years, there has been a raft of different attention metrics that have hit the market. And what they claim to do is offer an insight into the minds of consumers. The effort to articulate a clear and industry-defined definition for attention is something that's going to intensify this year going into next. Now, that goes from the on-page measurement to viewability to time in view, full-screen visibility, to nuanced interaction metrics where you can track whether a user has resized an ad, hit pause, turned up the volume, or even track their scrolling or eye movements. The choices in terms of attention can actually be quite overwhelming. Now, before onboarding a suite of attention metrics, advertisers should ensure that ads are not only measurable, but that all ads actually drive better outcomes. Now, my name is Michael Isaac Salai. I lead business development for the EMEA region at IAS. And IAS is a global leading measurement and optimization platform that delivers the industry's most attainable data in order to drive superior results for the world's largest advertisers, platforms, as well as publishers. And the mission is to become the global benchmark for trust and transparency in digital media quality. Now, we do this with comprehensive data that ensures that ads are seen by real people in safe and suitable environments. And today I'm joined by David Bassett, Chief Analytics Officer at Lumen. IAS, as Mike just mentioned, has recently partnered with Lumen in order to bring cutting-edge eye tracking technology with IAS quality attention metrics. And our new partnership provides the opportunity for marketers to have actionable data like never before for their advertising campaigns. So in the next 15 minutes, David and I are going to explore the industry's most polarizing topic and share some evidence-based paths that marketers can take to successfully capture consumer attention. So, David, you have been with Lumen for, I believe, 10 years.
That's right, yes.
Quite a long time, so you've seen it all, essentially. Where would you say you're now on your journey with attention metrics?
Well, yeah, as you say, it has been quite a long journey. I mean, it goes back to 10 years ago when Mike and I had breakfast and he told me all about eye tracking. At the time, I was an econometrician doing marketing mix modeling, and the idea of measuring attention was entirely novel, really. So, and it's very exciting now that 10 years later we're on a whole stage at MadFest devoted to the topic.
Yeah, come some way.
So, yeah, but we've come a long way, and yeah, I think a lot of that journey has been about expanding the scale and scope of what we can measure attention for and how. And the speed at which we can deliver data. And I think we're getting that sort of getting to be in a good place now, especially with partnerships with companies like IAS. The real challenge really is now, I think I like this idea of managing attention rather than necessarily optimizing attention. I think that attention's a really nuanced topic, and one that as an industry we're all really kind of grasping with and learning how to use. It's a bit like the innovations in in the 50s and in the 60s when we started to get data on from panels on audience measurement for the first time, and concepts of reach and frequency. It's that bigger concept, I think, the idea of measuring actually is someone looking at my ad and how long are they looking at it for, is kind of quite transformational for our, really just our concepts of how we go about planning and buying media.
So I guess in that 10-year period, you've probably never seen quite as much attention as there has been in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that's so prevalent right now?
Well, I think the thing about attention is attention is a necessary but insufficient condition for advertising to work. So we've always, I think the people have thought about attention for a long time, actually. You can go back and read industry publications from the 80s, but even earlier, and people are discussing the topic of attention. So it's something that's been on in the media world's lens for a long time. And that's because really the idea of attention is the sort of meeting point of everyone's interests, I think. So I like to think of attention as being the commodity that's being exchanged in media markets. And as such, it's really important that we have good data on it. I don't know if you know the concept of a market for lemons, which is from the economist George Akerlof, who taught us that markets where they are lacking in good quality data on quality, everything goes to the lowest common denominator in price. You get like the lemons he was referring to were cars, second-hand cars, why it's important to keep the logbook of keeping track of all the maintenance that you've done in your car, to give the good data on how good your car is. Otherwise, without that, no one can trust you, and they'll pay the lowest price possible. And the media market is like that in lots of ways. Without us knowing whether someone's going to look at your ad or not, the price of media has gone down and down and down. So it becomes so useful. The idea of attention is something that is good for publishers because it allows them to get rewarded for the value they create. At the end of the day, what we do, advertisers are buying the attention of media owners' audiences. That's what's happening. And advertisers want to do this so that they know that they're, fundamentally that's what they're buying. They're buying the audience. And then finally, the agencies in the middle, I think for many years now, agencies have been kind of grappling for what is my role in the industry in an age of increasing a lot of advertisers in-housing things. But actually, I think attention data gives the agencies a really, really important role to play in this idea of managing attention for brands.
But I get the value. I get the value add. I think most people do. But why specifically so recently?
I think that really the real game changer has just been the maturity of the technology. For us, anyway. So we're all about using eye tracking data to measure visual attention, whether people are actually looking at your ad. And that is, it's taken us quite a while to, eye tracking technology has actually been around for over 100 years with some horrible, scary looking devices from, the beginning of the 20th century. Now we can do it passively on your own mobile phone using the front-facing camera. We don't spy on people, we let people know that we're doing this through sort of normal market research practices, but it's that much more accessible than it ever was before. And a big part of that is just computational power. Eye tracking is a relatively computationally demanding thing to do, and so it's just part of the AI revolution that is going on all over the place. And then building on from that, we've found that actually attention, if you get the right signals from devices, you can predict attention quite well. Like, we don't need to do eye tracking experiments with every single respondent. We can get signals like the signals you were talking about earlier of scroll speeds and, did they resize the video and all these factors, and basic viewability, viewable time, all these factors we know can give us, if you feed that into a predictive model, you can get a pretty good sense of how much attention is being paid.
there are probably quite a few different rabbit holes we can go down, but there's only so much time. So I want to know, from your opinion, of course, how can attention metrics actually affect business outcomes in a meaningful way?
Yeah, well, I think the most important thing here is around getting attention metrics available at scale. You know, and having good coverage across different channels, formats, environments, markets. You know, fundamentally, the advertising world is a very globalized industry now, and again, that's partly where I think the tipping points come. Actually, like back when we started, we just did press because that was easy to do. But now we can do all these, like a great swathe of different channels, and especially partnering with the likes of IAS, we can deliver the data available at scale so that market practitioners can start experimenting with the data themselves and learning for themselves how it works. We can only do so much, and really it's as I say, it feels like a whole sort of generational shift in how we plan and buy media. So partnering with the likes of IAS and using your networks is super exciting for us.
That's wonderful. I think unfortunately we're out of time, but thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you very much.